What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Okay, today is very special. It's been a long time coming for me because amongst the things that I really love about what I've been doing over the last year and a half, almost 2 years, is the people that I meet. And I've gathered a few good friendships over this past year and a half, 2 years. And one of them is one of the people that I've been talking to the most in this. And it's funny because we really do have a lot of things in common. And I wanted to talk to him for a long time. Uh, and I just want to welcome my good friend Dan Cleary from Others from Another Mother podcast. How you doing, Dan? Welcome to Psicoactivo.
Hi, my friend. How are you? Thanks for having me here. I do immediately want to take issue with your hat. I don't appreciate it. As a
I wanted to
lifelong,
piss you off.
as a born and raised Red Sox fan, currently in Boston, going to the game last night, going tonight and tomorrow, I'll never forget what you did to me just now. So
We can go to a game eventually, to a Yankees Red Sox game, and just maybe duke it out at the end or something.
that'd be a blast. That'd be a good time.
throw each other some corn dogs. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Wing
How are
it,
you, bud?
know?
It's good to see you.
I'm doing good. It's been a really busy last couple of weeks because I'm in the process of moving, and we already found the house, by the way,
Great.
which is great news. And it's been really difficult, but I haven't been able to be part of the Doomer Friday. I miss you guys. The
been
last
missed.
episode you guys did was really good, and I really like that Patrick was there too. It was a good conversation. Everybody behaved.
Yeah.
It was great. I really liked it. So, but enough about that. I want to talk about you, bro, because I made a mistake about a couple of weeks ago because I didn't, honestly, and I'm sorry for this. Before the November hearings, I had no idea who you were.
That's fine.
And then I started like listening more to you, and I was like, who's this tattoo man? And it was like a conspiracy theory almost, like, who's this guy? Everybody was
was pretty
making up
funny.
stories and shit.
It was pretty funny.
What was your experience like when people started noticing Tattoo Man?
I like that you're still the guy that calls me Tattoo Man. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It was cool. I mean, the truth is, I've kind of I found myself in some interesting places before. I work in the music industry, and I've weirdly found myself in the middle of a couple pretty big controversies over the years. So I'm kind of used to having people ask, who the fuck is this guy? I've been getting that a lot in my life, and that's all good. But the UFO thing and being at that hearing and having people start trying to figure out who I was mostly just funny. It's just like, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who is fascinated and in love with this topic, like you, like the hundreds of people that we are in communication with every day. Like, we just have this, when I was there, I felt like a little kid. I didn't feel like I'm the UFO guy, look at me. I was just like in awe of being there, and I felt honored to be a part of it. And I was way too busy focusing on what was being said, and like the huge weight of being in that room with those people, and like seeing my government at work up close and personal was just one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And I'm looking forward to doing it again on September 9th. Confirmed.
Which is gonna happen, by the way.
What a day. We picked a wild day to do this.
Yeah. It was weird because I did tell you beforehand, and then that happened, which we're gonna talk about a little bit. But I want to ask you before that, I want to ask you about your career in podcasting, because you already were part of a significant podcast, and I didn't know about it until very recently. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So I've been working. I'm a guitar tech. That's what I do for a living. I work in the music industry, and I tour around the world and fix guitars and tune guitars and tell rock stars that their hair looks good and all that kind of stuff. But I've worked for Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction for almost 17, 18 years. and he had a podcast / radio show we did it for 10 years. It was called Dark Matter Radio. And that's where I kind of learned to do all this kind of stuff. Co-host on that for 10 years. And towards the end, I became like the producer and the talent booker. So actually that's how I met Jeremy Corbell, is when I was booking guests for Dark Matter. I had seen Hunt for the Skinwalker, his documentary, and just reached out blindly. I'd never heard of him before. Reached out blindly on Twitter, sent a DM, explained who I was, and asked if he wanted to come be on a show with Navarro and me. And he came, and it was kind of an instant kind of friendship. And so actually, long story short, that's what ended up getting me to the hearing in November, was that old radio show and podcast. And then I've had my own podcast called Rare Form Radio since 2019, which is just, it's not for smart people. It's for dumb people like me. We just talk a lot of smack and act really, really dumb.
You're my kind of people, dude. I'm from Tijuana, so
yeah, there you go. Exactly. I grew up like a Howard Stern fanatic, so that one's kind of more in that line of just like dopey. We get serious sometimes. Mostly, it's just fun. And then recently, I started another new podcast called Others from Another Mother, which is kind of my and my partner Chad's UFO woo kind of weird focused podcast, and it's been a blast. It just there's no set schedule for that one. It's not like a weekly thing. We kind of do it when we feel inspired or when we have a guest we want to talk to. Like when I see what you do, just the how often you are putting out, like not just putting out content, but putting out videos that are like insightful and full of information. Like hats off to you. I don't know how you do it every day, but it's very inspiring. But for our show, it's just kind of like once a month, once every 6 weeks, whatever. Sometimes twice a month. You know, it's no real schedule, but it's a blast, and it's been fun learning and talking to people about it.
Thank you for saying that, though. You are having an upcoming episode, aren't you? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
By the time people see this, you can find us on YouTube, Others from Another Mother. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I think it was 2005 or maybe a little bit later, this briefing kind of thing leaked online where it was supposedly in 1981, then President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, getting like the briefing, getting, the presidential UFO alien briefing. I mean, it's highly debated. We talked about it in the episode about like, where we stand about it being real or fake. But we do a full read through. It's a long episode. We do a full read through with all the characters. And our mutual friend, James Landrith, I mentioned I was going to do it, and he reached out and said that he would love to read for the part of Ronald Reagan, and he does a pretty damn good Reagan. So that's available now, and it was fun. I mean, have you read the briefing?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty interesting. Whether it's real or fake, I think no matter what, there's some stuff in there that sounds like that is how it would work if a president were to be briefed. Like there's parts in there that feel accurate.
Yeah, and recently we had a friend of ours do like a fiction kind of thing about a president being briefed about UFOs, which was pretty fantastic. I know that was more fictionalized, but we're talking about Sander and the Dreamland Motel. But it's really nice to hear that James is going to be there, because this is a nice segue to talk about what happened today.
What are the chances? I mean, really?
Night, yeah. He reached out to me and told me that Dr. Eric W. Davis was talking shit about the hearings. Essentially, this is what he revealed to me, that the hearing was postponed until November. And then a shitstorm happened. You asked people and they told you that the hearing is going to happen, correct?
Yes, for sure.
So how do you analyze this? What do you think is going on here because sorry.
No, it's fine.
Because Dr. Davis has done multiple statements already in the past. He did an interview with UAP Gerb and Missile Man, where he told them that ARVs are definitely not real. And he's talked smack about Bob Lazar, Dan Burrish, Dr. Richard Banderich, and it kind of feels like he's not being completely honest. And with this one, which was already confirmed to be not true, what's your read on it? I just want to know from you.
I really wish I had one because I think he's someone that when he talks, I very much make a point to listen. Like I like the way he speaks. I like just how like so matter of fact and almost rude he is when he delivers information. It's just like, here it is, just here it is. I don't know. I would love to know where that came from. I wonder if that was like planted somewhere just to kind of confuse people, or if he misunderstood something. I don't think it would be a case of him just full on making something up, but it is weird. Like I said, I like his information, but there's some things that I definitely disagree with him on strongly. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you?
I got a couple of theories. One of them is that, well, you know that, for example, Danny Sheehan and others have been saying that they want Jay Stratton to take the stand and to do it under oath. And Burleson said that they declined essentially on Stratton. And I know that Davis is part of
The
his group.
committee that the committee declined.
Yeah, the committee
Yes.
declined.
Yes.
Yeah. But the one who said it was Eric Burleson in a Twitter space, which was funny. I don't know if that's a reaction to Stratton being declined. It's possible. I don't know. I'm not saying this is true, but Eric Davis sounds like someone who knows what's going on based on the conversations he has and the way he speaks, as you just said. Do you think it's possible that he may be part of the legacy program, or maybe protecting people from the legacy program, and that's why he's like planting these seeds with half truths or maybe lies sometimes?
It's a good question. I always I still strongly feel he knows a lot more than he has said publicly. I don't think a little more. I think he knows a lot more than what he said. I kind of think of, in my opinion, the guy is Hal. Hal put off to me is like, that's the guy. If I could just look inside someone's brain for all of it, it's like him and Valet kind of stuff. But I think that Eric is not super far away from that kind of level. I could be wrong. That's just a hunch I have. I base that on nothing, but he speaks confidently, and he speaks about things that I believe to be true and things that have kind of are proof to me. So I don't know. It's a tough call because he has made a couple of these kind of things. It's not like Lou just being blatantly wrong, but like just kind of this wrong information. I don't know. I really don't know what to think, but I don't like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I wish it
Same.
wasn't so like muddy.
It's something that also made me jump out is that movie, Age of Disclosure. I've heard Joe Rogan talking about that these guys are seeking mass amnesty. And I was just, uh, when Eric said this latest, I'm like, that kind of sounds like a legacy program guy that, like maybe he's also seeking for mass amnesty, as Joe said.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the movie too. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just pure speculation, but it kind of feels a little bit like that. I don't know.
Mm. Where are you on the amnesty thing?
I'm guessing. Well, no, I'm not guessing. I don't want mass amnesty for people who hurt other families and unalived people, but I can understand if people from the legacy program lied to the world to protect the world. Because I just did a video on Tom DeLonge, few of the most obscure phrases he said, and I've always had this in the back of my mind, that what if this reverse engineering stuff is happening, but they want to keep it secret, but not from people, but from the others.
Is there any, I mean, can you imagine any scenario where they don't know everything that we're doing?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I just,
if they're telepathic, maybe not, but what if there are ways to hide from them, you know?
yeah, but
What if
also, do we believe that they can go through walls? Do we believe that they can, you know, just show up in anyone's home, which to me means you can show up in any dumb, you know, underground base? I mean, we don't know
yeah,
the limitations. I mean, we just obviously our imaginations run wild with NHI capabilities. So I just assume they're like Jedis and they can do like whatever they want to do at all times.
yeah,
But maybe
or-
they are limited by things. Maybe.
yeah, and I mean that would be one reason to like justify what the secret keeping for 80 years. To me would be the only reason really, that I would go like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm okay with that. But uh, there are a lot of cases of people who have passed away mysteriously.
Yeah.
Their technology has been taken away from them when they like crack something. Those things I think need to be answered, and I'm not talking about revenge or something, like just like uh, account for things. You know, like if you did something wrong, you gotta pay. And if a family was hurt, if the head of a family was um, unalived, you gotta respond to that. You gotta at least maybe give the family some trust fund money or something to respond to that. You know, but yeah, mass amnesty just for the ones who didn't commit like absolutely
Atrocities.
evil
Yeah.
evil things. Yeah, I would be on board with mass amnesty for those people, but
What
not
if
for the bad guys.
but what if that's the only way, is blanket amnesty for everybody no matter what you did? It's the only way to get information to the public. What do you do?
I don't think they should or deserve to get away with shit like that, bro. It's just not the
I don't
way that
either.
I.
In general, I don't either, but to me it's like I think a lot of us in this world consider this the most important topic and the most important acknowledgement of all time in human history so far. And when you're talking about that kind of stuff, sometimes I think you have to make certain deals and concessions, I guess. And one of those might be letting people that have really hurt, or worse, you know, a bunch of people, letting them get away with it might be the only way for us to start moving forward. And it's awful and it's not fair. And I would feel horribly for those families and friends and people involved and all that. But if it's the only way to get stuff out, I think I would have to sign on to that.
Yeah, I would sign up too, but I don't think. I think there's a lot of people that wouldn't accept it, and they would try to take matters into their own hands. If the government is not going to do it, I can guarantee you at least someone is going to try to get retribution
And I
out of
have,
it.
listen, you know, I'm a Boston guy. I have no problem with vengeance and, you know, street justice. You know, sometimes that stuff has to happen, but I'm not saying that should happen. But if they got blanket amnesty and then someone else took care, that's okay. That's all well and good.
Yeah,
But
and I
um,
mean, I'm from Mexico. This happens all the time here.
vigilante
Whenever
justice, yeah,
whenever the law doesn't abide, people take matters into their own hands. It happens all the time, and
yep.
I I I completely understand. I'm like, yeah. I mean, what were they expecting? You know?
Yep.
So yeah, they can pretend to get away with it for a little while, but don't think it's gonna fly for a lot of people. That's just me.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get it a bit more complex now, because another aspect that has been happening since at least the 60s or 70s are the abductions. And that's a topic that is even more difficult to talk about,
That's the
but it's
biggest
been
one.
happening. But it's been happening. And how do you tackle that? How would you tackle that if there's disclosure and they tell you, so this has been happening too, besides the secret keeping of the technology and the bodies, the abductions have been happening? How do you tackle that?
Dude. I don't even know where to start. I tweeted the other day that like we do have to start talking about this. It has to be part of the whole thing. And I know everyone keeps saying like just not yet, not yet. Well, when? Because there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who have had experiences where they are either their physical body is taken from their home or from a car, or where they're on a walk or they're on a beach, or now it sounds like people's consciousness has been taken out of their body, where some abductions might actually be more like your mind and your consciousness is taken. So those people do deserve acknowledgement and some kind of explanation. If this has been happening for hundreds of years, it's been happening our whole lifetime. I was born in the late 70s, and it's been part of my entire life. So I don't know how the conversation begins, but it has to be acknowledged. And what kind of apology do you give those people? I mean, nothing you say will be enough for the people who have been through it. But again, it's one of those things where like it has to be uncomfortable for a bit before we move forward. It's just going to be super uncomfortable. All of it's going to be uncomfortable.
I guess a good first step was Colonel Blitch talking about it, right? And
Yeah.
on News Nation. I thought that was a really good first step, because
Mhm.
it's a very credentialed man, and he's a good man, I think. And he was very open about his experience. And I would guess that more people within the military and the intelligence community have experienced something similar. And
Jim Semivan.
yeah, and getting them to talk about it more openly, in detail, like Semivan, like Blitch, that would be a good next step, I would guess. But I wanted to ask you about this, though, specifically, because I don't know if you can share something about some work that you have been doing lately, whatever you can share related to abductions.
Sure. Yeah, in a very, very strange way, I came into possession of quite a bit of abduction data, mostly mostly pertaining to hypnotic regressions and hypnosis sessions, and all the paperwork that goes along with that. And I'm sifting through it, and I've listened to a handful of different people having these reactions, and they all kind of came from the same therapist. It's not a therapist. Anyone knows it's not John Mack. It's not any of these people. Someday when I'm able to tell the story of how I got this, it's such a weird, winding story. I mean, you kind of know a little bit of what I'm talking about, and you may or may not have heard some stuff so far. But it's chilling, and I have zero question in my mind that this is a real experience that people are having. And when you listen to the Betty and Barney Hill, listen to the Barney Hill regression session, and tell me that guy didn't go through something. He did. Travis Walton, kind of the same thing. Whitley Strieber, I believe all these people. And I think there's way, way, way more that have never said a word to anybody, including some of these people that I'm researching right now.
Something that really jumped out at me was that, because I've seen other materials besides the one that you stumbled upon, right after I heard about what you found, I started looking for other people, and there's a lot there. There's
Yeah.
a lot at Archives of the Impossible,
Mm.
which is at Rice University, and some of the material there, there's a lot of drawings that people make of different types of beings that it's like, whoa, it's
Hmm.
such a diversity. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
this is really startling, and yeah, it's a really difficult conversation to have, but we're eventually gonna have to. I
Have
mean,
to.
everything's ramping up right now, so I would guess so, right?
Can you imagine if we get to a point where we have congressional abduction hearings?
Whoa.
You
Oh
know,
man.
putting people on the stand that might have evidence of what happened to them, or there's a paper trail where certain governments, I don't know, maybe knew full well that this was happening and kind of, let it happen. Those are going to be wild if those ever happen. I would love to. I hope it does.
And I think the best possible evidence of any of this could be the implants, right? Which is
Sure.
part of the abduction phenomenon. And they this Dr. Lear, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
the guy who did a lot of these surgeries, and he
Yep.
took out some of these implants
Yep.
allegedly. Um, that's fascinating to me because that's physical evidence, and who knows what kind of material that is too. Um,
Do
yeah.
we have we not heard more about like what those are? Have we not had them? Have they been cracked open? Has anyone ever been like, this is what this is?
Well, every time I see somebody trying to come forward with one of these things, I've been speaking to my friend Fepo from Podcast Paranormal in Mexico, and he's been approached by a bunch of different abduction victims who took out their own implants independently. And something really weird keeps happening when he talked to me about this. He's like, whenever they want to meet up with me, and they show me videos and they show me pictures of this implant, and one of these people even went through the whole process of showing Fepo where the implant was in the body, and then the process of like before it was taken out to when after it was taken out, and they were allegedly going to meet, and when they were going to meet, this person lost the implant, and something always happens, like
I
uh
feel like I've heard that before.
yeah, something always happens, like they I don't know, maybe they have some sort of like a tracker or something, or they know where the implants are, or when they're taken out,
I've
possibly. I
I've
don't
always
know.
assumed that the implant itself was a tracker. It's an all-in-one. I feel like it might be a tracker and like a Rosetta Stone type thing, where like it's a way to communicate. Maybe that's how telepathy happens between abductor and abductee. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I feel like that itself is a tracker.
yeah,
The way
and
we tag animals, same way we
yeah,
tag every animal on Earth.
yeah, it feels like that.
Hmm.
I also have a friend from Hawaii who, before I got into ufology, um, she actually called me one night and she was like, dude, I don't know what's happening. I just woke up like right outside of my house in the floor, and I have no idea how. And I got a really weird marking in the back of my foot. And she showed me pictures and everything. I was like,
Was it
that's weird.
dots? Was it multiple dots? What was it?
It was three dots, three little dots.
See, you didn't have to tell me that. And the fact that we kind of know that there's dots involved and these weird little like
Yeah.
sometimes these little skin tags that people get that they didn't have a skin tag the day before. It's what are the chances of that? That's not it's not a
Yeah.
coincidence.
And I was like, maybe you were abducted. And this was way before I was even interested in covering any of this. She was like, I kind of feel like I was, but I don't know. And I didn't know what to tell her then. I didn't know that the regressions were happening. I didn't
Hmm.
know any of that. Then like last year when I started doing this, I called her and I was like, dude, did you call me and tell me this? Did that really happen? She's like, yeah, it happened. You
Yeah.
still have that marking? She's like, yep. But I'm just ignoring it. I'm living my life, and nothing has happened since. I'm like, okay, it's weird. Whenever you
Hmm.
want to talk about it, let me know. And she's like, I'm good. And I completely understand. It's probably something traumatic that happened, and she doesn't want
Probably,
to
yeah, of
remember
course. I mean, it seems like when people talk about their abduction experiences, it's almost always initially terrifying, as it would be. You know, these unknown entities enter your home. They come through the wall or the ceiling, or you wake up and they're just standing. Usually, three of them in your room or around you, and then you can't scream, you can't move, you're paralyzed, and now they're moving you. And now maybe you're going through your own wall. Like what? Like you're
it.
going
Yeah.
through the wall of your own home,
What
and
the
now you're
hell?
up above the trees. And now you're in a metallic craft that maybe you can see through the floor and still see your house as you're zipping away. Like, of course, that's going to be, I don't know how people come back from that. Like, once
Yeah.
you remember that, so it's usually initially, it seems like it's fear, trauma, terror, confusion, and then self-doubt of like, did this really happen? Am I going crazy? Was it a dream? It had to have been a dream. But now I have these scars. And what's this implant thing behind my ear? And then it goes on for years and years. And then there's people like Whitley who eventually learn to like have like a almost a loving relationship with
Back
these
and forth. Yeah.
beings, like almost like a, I'm trying to think of a way, like when you're a kid and your parents are trying to like shove vegetables in your face, but all you want is ice cream. You're like, why are you feeding me this crap? Like, give me the good
Yeah.
stuff. And you don't know it's for your own benefit. Or um, getting like vaccines or like shots when you're a kid before you go to school. It hurts, but like it's for your own good. And I think a lot of these abductees, maybe not all of them, but at some point come around to the possibility that this stuff might be happening for their own benefit or for some kind of greater good. But it would be nice for those people if that was explained from the first encounter. Hey, I know we're scary looking, and I know I look like an 8-foot bug, but I'm just trying to help you out a little bit. It's going to help us too. It's going to be uncomfortable. We'll be done as soon as possible, and we'll make sure you don't remember this. And if you do, like, just know that we're trying to help. That would be helpful, but there seems to be not a whole lot of care for people at the beginning, except for sometimes people are told like you don't feel pain anymore, like a Jedi mind trick of just you're okay now, and then
Yeah.
the pain goes away. It's so wild. It's so wild.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm riveted by it. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. I think like break off branch of the UFO topic is the abduction stuff.
Yeah, that's the one that scares me the most. And I know that eventually I'm going to have to talk about it more. I mean, we're talking about it right now, but actually having uh, a victim on and to talk about it and open up and probably cry and all that, that's something that I have to get ready for because it is really a strong experience that I know that there's a lot of people that are going to resonate with it whenever they hear somebody that truly was abducted and truly knows everything that happened. And
For
it's
sure.
not easy.
And the thing is too is we also as humans have virtually no right to complain about it either, because like I've said this a bunch before, where there's not an animal on earth that we have not captured and tagged and taken blood samples of, or tried to like mix breed certain dogs together. We've tagged every animal. We've tried to eat every animal on earth. So for us to like pretend that these
Yeah.
more intelligent beings have no right to do this, like, says who? Says you, the guy that me, like
Yeah.
I eat meat every day. I've had dogs and I've put trackers in my dogs before. Like, uh, it's no different. It's only different
Yeah.
because it's happening to us. But so it's a funny hypocrisy that we like to
And
live in.
because we're a little more sentient than the other animals, that's why
As far
we
as we
feel
know,
it's
maybe.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there might be like an Einstein of dogs that we don't know about, where all the dogs know that like this one dog was the one. We wouldn't know,
Yeah.
and these beings might not
I
know the same about us.
I imagine that dog with a beard, like the Chinese master from Kill Bill, doing this.
Absolutely. Yep. With his paws. Yeah.
Oh man. Uh, okay, I want to ask you about that experience that you had at Contact in the Desert
Mm.
with the non-speakers.
Oh,
What that was like for you, because you recorded a video of one of the tests. I covered your video
yep.
on one of my episodes, but I want to ask you about it because that was a really strong and potent experience for you, and maybe paradigm shifting. So, what was it like?
Yeah, you and I both are equally as impressed by the telepathy tapes and the work of Dr. Powell, Dr. Hennessy, she prefers Dr. Hennessy, and Kai Dickens. I think that, I mean, a lot of us, millions of people, and there's a reason why it was the biggest podcast in the world for a while. The telepathy tapes was it definitely changed my life in as far as like it changed my perspective on people in all ways. So being at Contact and seeing a live demonstration between a mother and her, autistic daughter, who they claimed was non-speaking, but she did verbalize. Like there was times when she did talk and she would sing. Um, she didn't usually speak, but she wasn't like a non-speaker like we think of a non-speaker. Um, but as far as I could tell, they proved it in the room to me that they were doing telepathy. It was like the different blindfolds going on and people, writing small, including myself. I wrote the word baseball on a small card, and the daughter relayed to the mother. The daughter was, 30 yards away from me, and relayed to the mother, who was double blindfolded with tape over her eyes and two masks, what the word was I wrote. Um, I couldn't see a way in the room, and I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure out how this could work. How could they fake this? And I couldn't do it, which doesn't mean that they didn't do it, but it was it was sufficiently proven to me in that room that they did it. I already believed it from the podcast, but when you see it with your own eyes, it was just so beautiful and cool, and it felt like, oh, okay, that was a moment I'll never forget. You know,
Oh, that's so
that's one
cool.
of those things, and it was.
Yeah.
And I saw Dr. Hennessy speak 2 or 3 times that weekend, and she's just brilliant and has such a huge heart and cares so much for these people. Um, yeah, the telepathy stuff is really wild, and I'm really excited to learn more about it. And I think we're just starting to kind of figure it out a little bit.
And I know that Ramsey was there too, probably trying to debunk, and maybe he couldn't do it also, right? Because
Who's that?
he has Chris Ramsey,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
he has this previous channel where he debunked magic tricks and all that, and
Mhm.
he already has that mind for it. So probably he was there like trying to see whatever he could find that could debunk, and maybe he couldn't find it. I haven't asked him though.
I asked him, so because we met at Contact, and um, I think he was on the panel for that reason. Being a sleight of hand. He's a fan. He. I saw him do a couple tricks in person, and it was like it's so cool. Um, but I think he was there to try to find those holes and those opportunities to kind of fake it. And I asked him afterwards. I'm like, so what did you think? He goes, I'm still processing. He goes, we'll talk about it later on. So we still haven't done it yet. I figured he would do some kind of follow-up video about it, which I don't know if he did or not. Maybe it's on his Patreon. I haven't checked, but I would love to know. I would love to hear his full breakdown. So maybe next time he's on a Doomer Friday, we can ask him about it.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the final topic that we're going to talk about today. Hopefully, you can come back for different conversations. I would love to have you on multiple times.
Oh, dude, I love you. Of course.
Become a regular and all that. But I do want to talk about what's pressing right now, and that's the hearings. And we already spoke about the little mishap that we had with Dr. Davis, but my one of my previous videos, I said that there are already 3 people who are confirmed, and I think maybe by the time that this podcast goes out, those names will already be public. If not, we'll release this at a later time when they are. But you know the names, and I wanted to ask you who those names are and what do you think about them as witnesses. I know that probably you don't remember one of the names, which is one of the Navy guys that has been talked about,
Mm-hmm.
but they did throw a little curveball when they said that there were two Air Force guys and the Navy guys. So take it away.
Well, like I said, I assume the names are coming out today. That's what we've been told. I know that one of them is Jeff Nuccelli or Nuccelli.
Nucitelli.
What is it?
Nucitelli.
Nuccelli. Great dude. I mean, I had some nice talks with him before. He's the one who, saw the huge red like cube come out. Was it Vandenberg?
Vandenberg Air Force Base.
Vandenberg. Yeah. And just slowly came out over the water, from the water, like over the base with multiple witnesses. Very much looking forward to him kind of talking about it in Congress. There's the other guy who I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. I think we know his name, and I know what his sighting was, but I can't, or his sightings. I can't think of it at the moment, and it's pissing me off. But the one I'm most excited about is, and if this is not, I don't want to spoil it, but like, okay, so George Knapp is the other name who's going to be there, and
that's so
I am
wild.
so pumped because I know a bit of what he's going to be bringing to the table, which I don't want to talk about.
No.
I think it's going to be a powerful hearing, and I do not expect any of the shenanigans from the last one to happen this time. It seems like hopefully they learned from it, or there's been more precautions taken or something, but I think that this will be much more, I can't think of the word. I think it'll go better than the last hearing did, even though on the last one we had Lou, in Congress talking about craft and bodies,
Yeah.
with his quick yes comments.
You were there at the November one, as we discussed earlier, but I want to ask you about this whole drama that happened with Corbell and Mace, because
Yeah.
I still don't have it clear if Mace just didn't want to include that 12th page, if she was either threatened or she has maybe some other type of interest in not releasing that other page and not giving credit to Corbell, because he also deserved credit like Schellenberger did. And what do you know about Matthew Brown not coming forward? He already explained a little bit on his Substack, but anything that you can share from that one that made it really weird?
The whole thing was strange, and I watched Jeremy when we got there pull the Immaculate Constellation document out of his backpack to give it to his staffer, who I even know that staffer's name. I watched him walk it into the back room. I know he had submitted it before that, but like he did it right in front of me to give to I actually don't know where that document went. But I saw it happen. I knew that Jeremy had submitted it. And then when May started talking about, we have this document, the Immaculate Constellation document, and the room's like, oh my gosh. And Jeremy kind of he realized they were about to put it into the congressional record. And when she said submitted by Michael Schellenberger, he just kind of his arms dropped, and he was just like, this is bullshit. Like, they fucked me, or they fucked it up. And there's the whole thing felt very jumbled and very weird. And from that point on, the whole hearing felt like there was thing that we weren't getting the full story, and I don't know why that happened. I don't know what the point was. Maybe they wanted to cloud the chain of custody. Maybe there was a reason why they wanted to say Schellenberger submitted it when he didn't. And it's my understanding that Schellenberger had never seen the full Immaculate Constellation document that Matthew Brown did until the night before. And even then, he was not given a copy of it. He was just shown it the night before, from what I gather.
Do you think it's possible that some of these Congress people are constantly being surveilled by some of their staffers that may not be their staffers, and like stuff like that? And maybe, I don't know. I know it is conspiratorial a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. Like they get compromised sometimes.
Sure.
Do you think that might have happened there with Mace?
Don't know.
It's possible.
I mean, Washington is a cesspool of opportunists and egomaniacs. And even though sometimes they do good work, like don't blindly trust any of them. Like not a single one of them. I don't care who your favorite president is. I don't care if, if Luna's doing great work on UFO stuff. Like, yeah, but she's also doing insane shit over here. And then you got Democrats doing the same thing where like, oh, I like that policy, but like, what the hell's like, they're all full of it, and I'm happy they're doing the work. I don't want to do that work. So I'm not saying they don't do good stuff, but don't blindly trust any of them is what I would think. And as far as Matt Brown, I think as well as I do that he is willing to be there, was ready to be there. And if they tell him tomorrow, we want you there, he will be there. Yeah. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why he's not. I mean, how could you not follow up the last hearing, which the big bomb was Immaculate Constellation? How do you not bring that guy forward to follow up on that? I mean, yeah. it seems so obvious. So my guess is there's clearly somebody or some people or some group that doesn't want him to be there.
Yeah.
Which just tells you and me and everyone else like, oh, maybe we should listen closer to what he's saying. Yeah. And also, if you're listening, please do go support him on his Substack. People always ask, how do you help whistleblowers who
that way?
Yeah, this is how you do it, because you can hear the words right from him, and you can also support him financially.
Yes.
It really does not cost much, and it makes a big difference to people like him. So please, if you want to support the topic and whistleblowers, this is one way you can do it, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it in the description, and you also get a ton out of it because he's a wealth of knowledge. I want to ask you about that wealth of knowledge of his, because there were a lot of people that were kind of confused and even, I would say, snap back at all of the occult and esoteric kind of conversation that he unleashed on everyone. And that's something that has existed forever. I'm one of those people who doesn't get scared when you hear all of this talk. I've read a bunch about different types of occult stuff. What was your feeling when you heard and you realized, oh, so Matt's going there, huh? What was your feeling, and what do you think about the reaction?
It was a pretty wild turn for me because, so I don't know how to explain, but you've invited me into another conversation that focuses a lot about this kind of stuff. And I am like blown away with how much I need to brush up on this stuff. Like occultism in general. Like, can you give me like the elevator pitch of what the occult is?
That's impossible. That's impossible, dude. It's so much. It's so much.
Briefly, what briefly, like, what is it?
It depends on the country, I guess, and it depends on whether it's from the West or from the East, because there's occultism in every culture. I can tell you from my perspective that shamanism in Mexico is occultism too, and that is still practiced today in my country. I don't know much about Western esotericism. I didn't get past, for example, the Dan Brown books, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, because I'm not really well versed in it. But I can tell you that the occult, it means hidden, basically, that
Hidden.
word. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can tell you that there's always been this interaction between people and these practices of uh, a different type of philosophy. Some call it religion too, although it has nothing to do with Abrahamic religions or Buddhism. It's something different. To me, it has to do with human knowledge and ancient human knowledge at that. That's what occultism means to me, but it can mean something different for someone else. Um, and that's just like as far as I go. I'm willing to learn. That's why I had Frater Eleftheria on my show, who was referenced by Matt Brown in his tweet. But um, I think that, yeah, it's a steep learning curve for anybody who wants to dive into it, and you got to go easy at first, because if you like go head first, you might even get scared by some of the stuff that you may find, so yeah.
I guess, the way you explained it, I get it. And the definition is it's supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, practices, or phenomena.
Yeah, and for me, something that I think is necessary to explain the occult and esotericism, you have to find a way that is more scientific to explain those things. That's why for example, I'm very much focused on the work of, for example, Dr. Powell or Dr. Hennessy, Dr. Julia Mosbridge, or Kai Dickens, or Dean Radin, Dr. Jacobo Greenberg. They all talk about human potential and consciousness and manifestation and all of that stuff. That is part of the same, I think, about esotericism, because it has to do with self growth and learning how to interact with nature, with the forces of nature, because it's been believed for millennia that nature has different types of forces and faces too. um I would say like that. And the more we um try to interact with nature in a more um meaningful way and like close up way, I think that we understand a lot more about those types of topics,
Sure.
esotericism and the occult and all that. That's the way I see it. I don't know.
So would something like classical witchcraft fall under occultism?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it does. And to me, and I'll just give you this example. My wife was this year earlier. She was in Logroño, which is a little town in Spain that is very famous for the witch hunts that actually happen. Actual witch hunts. They have like monuments there. They have a lot of different plaques that explain what happened back then during the times of the Holy Inquisition. To me, the Holy Inquisition was just um, the Catholic Church, and it's happened before too with other types of organized religions, just trying to get other competitors off the board, so to speak. Because if you think about it, and I'm just gonna say this, um, Jesus Christ, I think that if he was alive today, he would absolutely hate what they've done with his name, because he wasn't trying to tell people, I am God and you got to worship me as God. He was trying to tell people uh, that whatever he thought God was within everybody. And
Yeah.
I think that's like the general kind of teaching that he was trying to give. And people completely misinterpreted him
Imagine that.
over 2,000 years.
Yeah. At least we've learned to stop misunderstanding people. You know, yeah, I think you're right. I'm not a religious person at all, but I believe that if
Me
Jesus was a
neither.
real guy, and
Yeah.
what I know of Jesus, I think his intentions clearly were very good, and the messages of those religions, I mean, they're kind of all the same. Like, be nice to people,
Yeah.
be kind, you know, don't steal, don't kill, enjoy life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I have to. I got to do some more deep dives and really pay attention to that other conversation you've invited me into, because right now I'm just like skimming it, being like, whoa,
This is a lot. Yeah.
whoa. It's
Yeah.
fun, but it's very fun. I'm not like scary, just like really fun, different perspectives. And the last few years, I'm all about, you know, changing perspectives and opening aperture, and just kind of like, don't dismiss, don't dismiss pretty much anything. Just take it, absorb it, put it away. You know.
Have you ever talked to Corbell about this? Like, do you know if he's like at least curious? Ever?
Haven't talked about it. Haven't
No.
talked about it. I think I think he you know, publicly is very much about nuts and bolts, like the machines. Like, show us where the machines are. Let's see where the bodies are. But he's also, you know, a very smart guy and very open minded. And I think he is open to new information always. You
Yeah,
know,
and he's mentioned the others too a couple of times already.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
And privately, I think he's more open to things than, because his main focus is what he's doing in Congress and what he's doing with the podcast. But he also has many other interests in this topic outside of that. But he's very focused on this task.
yeah.
And with that, you kind of have to, like, you know, tunnel vision of just like, I got to work on this.
So about George Knapp though, before we leave, I've always wondered whenever he came back from the Soviet Union with all those documents, do you think that um, it's possible that whenever he landed back in the US, he was immediately taken into a skiff for a briefing or something like that? And maybe he was told, like, you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't say this. Do you think that that's plausible?
I don't know, because I think he's a brilliant journalist, and I think that I don't think anyone knew what he did when he got home, and I don't. That happened in the mid '90s, I think, right?
Yep.
So I don't think our government probably even knew that he had done that. You know, I think he just a guy who went to Russia. Back then, you could just go on vacation to places, and it wasn't a big deal. So it might have been. I don't know. Good question though. Maybe we'll find out September 9th.
It's funny because honestly, after that Lazar story came out, I would think that the government was on Knapp 24/7 though.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Um, did he become? So I don't remember this. Did he become? Was he doing UFO stories all the time after Lazar, or was that kind of his bread and butter for a bit?
No, I don't. I think he's a journalist before the Lazar story, and even after
Still, I mean, he's
he
still.
kept doing. Yeah, he still does stuff
Hmm.
about animals and
Yeah,
murders and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, he after that to me he's one of the most important UFO journalists ever, if not the
absolutely.
most.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
No question. Um, I think people will very much enjoy what he talks about.
And if it's not announced, let's just talk, skim through it a little bit. 3 people confirmed. You
Maybe more.
mentioned, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Do you think the others that may come to testify, maybe 5 at the end, do you think one of those might be a hostile witness?
Don't know. I still don't really know exactly what that is. Is that just someone who is called to testify who doesn't want to be there?
I'm going to throw you some names, see if
I
you
mean,
consider them
Akatsky,
hostile.
of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah,
there are others that are way more hostile. Like
sure.
UAP Gerv talking to Chris Ramsey said that the most hostile one right now would be somebody like Bobby Ray Inman,
Mm.
you know,
Hmm.
and that guy is essentially could potentially be one of the Majestic 12 or whatever.
Sure.
Or Admiral Wilson would be also,
Gaffney.
I think. Glenn Gaffney would be another one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think any of those might be plausible in any way? Or Lakatsky?
It's I believe that if any names are added like that, they would be, I know they're trying to get hands-on people, someone who touched a craft or a body. Body, very unlikely, because that's like without any doubt, the most protected part of the entire thing is the body stuff. That'll be the last thing we get. But I believe if they add any names, hopefully it would be someone like a Matt Brown. But otherwise, it would be, I believe, a hands-on person or persons and names that we do not know.
Okay. And something that if they're not mentioned today, something that I told you, if they are, I think that's a really bad idea. Do you agree?
I do. I think, although now I'm thinking about it, I thought it'd be good to keep the names as long as possible, just to protect them from people trying to dig up dirt or do whatever, which I guess you have every right to do. But if we're trying to hide names from the government or whatever, they already know. I mean, if I know who these people are, they know. They've known for forever. Day one. So maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know.
It doesn't.
Yeah. What makes you concerned about it?
I guess it depends on the names, though. If it's people that nobody knows about and they are part of legacy programs, I would be concerned about them because they're trying to protect their anonymity for a reason, So that would be the one reason. But if there are no names, I don't think it makes a difference, really.
Right. That's I agree there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it should be a good time. You're going to be missed. We're going there with Clinton Zander from Night Shift, and really wish you were there. You're going to have to come for the next one.
Yeah, if there is a next one, I hope so. We are definitely going to Contact next year together.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Can't wait for that.
That'll be fun. What do you expect for next week, though? Just to close out.
For the hearing?
Everything that's going to happen next week.
I expect it will be more fun than the last one. I expect there'll be some pretty important testimony. I'm really curious about the person that they're saying had multiple, possibly like 5 experiences, a witness to 5 different things. Looking forward to hearing what those are. I'm still a guy. I love hearing about people seeing craft. I love that stuff. Like that's the stuff that I grew up on, is like UFO ships and bodies. So whenever it's about that stuff, I love it. I don't love the sphere stuff, even though it's like, and orbs have always bothered me, but I'm having to soften my view on orbs because clearly it's something. And then I saw one. I showed you that the video that looks just like what I saw. I saw a helicopter chasing this huge orb like a month and a half ago. So now that I've seen it, it's like, okay, damn it. I guess there is another layer to learn about. But I'm expecting it to be very exciting, and I hope it's covered properly.
Me too.
I know people like you, and I know that the people that our mutuals in this field are going to do some great work. But I hope just media picks it up. Just have news cameras there. I just cover this. Cover the stuff, I mean,
at this point, if they don't, we already know why not, right?
Yeah. Because they're pussies. End of the day, that's what it is. Yeah.
Dan, I want to thank you, man, for being such a fucking awesome guy.
Likewise, dude. I'm a huge fan of yours.
And let's do this again soon, and keep me posted on what happens over there. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave everything for your podcast and your new episode in the description so people can check it out. But thank you, man, and have a great rest of your week.
Goodbye, humans.
Goodbye, humans.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Bye.
Bye.